It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for December 2024. So on December 6th, we are starting our back-to-back energy shifts. Now, if you've listened to the December energy forecast, that overview that I put out, then you already know that we are in for a lot of energy shifting, a lot of destabilizing, a lot of change coming at us here on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of December. If you haven't downloaded your December energy guide, I'm going to recommend you do that so that you understand where this particular energy is going to be taking place. It is going to have a huge impact on a particular area of your life. And of course, in those guides, specifically tailored for your zodiac sign, I try to help you align with the tough love life lessons that are likely going to come with Mars retrograding. So let's talk about it. December 6th, we have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, going retrograde, which he does every 2 years-ish. And this time we have Mars retrograding at 6 degrees, 11 minutes of Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. So of course, Mars rules over Aries energy and co-rules over Scorpio energy. So my Aries and Scorpio placements are definitely going to feel this energy shift very, very dramatically. Also, if you have placements at the 6th degree of the fixed signs, meaning Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, this particular energy is definitely going to impact you as well. And eventually, when Mars moves back into the Cancer energy, we're going to be looking at the tail end of the last 15 degrees-ish of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Regardless of whether or not you have Aries, Scorpio, or any of those placements that I just rattled off, Mars has a huge influence, a huge impact on the collective when he goes retrograde. Most people just have been conditioned to think that retrogrades are bad. They are not. It is a necessary time of pause, of inter-reflection that we have to do before moving on and moving forward. And because 2025 is Mars ruled, and because we have major heavy hitting planets shifting into Aries energy that Mars rules over next year, it's almost a good thing that we're getting this retrograde done and over with now so that Mars can be up the snuff at his peak potential when all of the cosmic shit hits the fan early next year. So with all of that being said, let's talk about what Mars's retrograde is going to be all about. First of all, I want to remind you the last time that we had a Mars retrograde was October 30th of 2022 to January 12th of 2023. And that time it was in the Gemini energy. So we were all up in the headspace. We were, bringing out some aggressive forms of communication. We were very passionate about pursuing new ideas, all of the things. And at that particular point in time, we also had Mercury retrograde in his rulership as well. So it was a double whammy, having our physical energy and our mental plane kind of turned inward. And so this time around, we are kicking things off with Mars retrograding at this 6th degree in Leo energy. Again, he's going to retrace his steps through this Leo energy, creep back into the Cancer energy. And when he goes direct in this Cancer energy, we're going to retrace our steps, moving through the Cancer energy back into the Leo energy before we're going to be at its peak potency. So we are essentially just a little bit, I'm going to throw some dates at you just to kind of put it into a particular perspective. Again, I've been encouraging you all to really capture what is going on for you in those energy guides because they're going to become a very, very important point of reference as we move into the new year. October 4th, we entered into the pre-retrograde shadow period at that 17 degree of that Cancer energy that we will be revisiting. On November 3rd, we did see Mars move into this Leo energy, and on December 6th, we are watching Mars retrograde 6 degrees of this Leo energy. Now, we will be backtracking into the Cancer energy January 6th. And we, on February 23rd of 2025, will watch Mars go direct at that 17 degree of the Cancer energy that, again, we entered into the pre-retrograde shadow period back in October. And it is going to take us until April 18th until we re-enter into the Leo energy. And then May 2nd of 2025, we are going to be clear of the post-retrograde shadow period. We will be at the 6th degree in this Leo energy, and then we move into fresh, new, foreign territory. So that's a lot of information. Those are a lot of dates. Now, what does all of this mean? Well, considering the fact that a retrograde takes all of the energy that most oftentimes when the planet is direct that we're putting out into the world. Mars is about our physical energy, our passion, desire, the way that we exert ourselves to go after what it is that we want, and our anger. Now, with all of that internalized, you can guess that this isn't going to be much fun. It isn't supposed to be. It's supposed to help us move inward, really dissect what our motivations, what our passions, what our desires actually are, where it is that we have some repressed anger and frustration that we probably need to unpack and address. And we just need to analyze how we actually move throughout the world, going after what it is that we want, really rectifying, reconciling situations. Now, considering the fact that Mars is the god of war, we are likely going to be presented with a lot of information, a lot of situations, a lot of circumstances on the greater, grander global stage that are going to tick all of us off. Why? Well, because it's supposed to. Now, we have to, hopefully at this particular juncture, the collective is mature enough to not engage in physical war, but at the same time, we are at a tipping point, and really at this point, it's anyone's guess how these particular energies are going to manifest. So we're going to be in a situation where retrograde has us reflecting back, reassessing, reanalyzing, re-editing, revising. So we're going to be looking at our current projects, whether or not we're still passionate about them, whether or not we're going about executing them in the right way, whether or not we're actually taking the right approach to bringing them to life, to getting to what it is that we desire to be living in. There is this whole introspection type of nature that takes place with a retrograde. So we're not going to have a lot of physical energy. We're not going to be asserting ourselves. We're not going to be inspired. We're not going to be passionate. What we are going to do is probably be very frustrated and angered about it. And of course, that's not fun. That is feeding the beast that we are essentially here to try and deconstruct. And so we have a little bit of opportunity here to reframe our energy management. We aren't moving forward. We aren't moving anywheres at this particular point of Mars's retrograde because we have to be looking inward. We have to take a good look at what is actually ticking us off and putting us in a state of aggression, whether or not that's valid. We have to unpack that. We have to look inwards to see what it is that we're actually passionate about because, hate to tell ya, the ego gets caught up in this little video game that we're playing here and continues to push and push and push for a particular outcome that we, our soul self, may have lost passion and resonance with months ago. So this is a time to kind of reanalyze where we're putting our energy, what we're actually passionate about, whether or not it's actually worth backing this particular objective, this outcome, this target. So things are going to be pretty intense. We are going to be very hesitant about taking action. We're going to be second guessing ourselves, our instincts, our raw instincts that of course are very rooted in the egoic programming. We're not going to be trusting our instincts, and there are going to be other things going on, cosmically speaking, that's going to have us leaning more into our intuition than our instincts, because again, instincts are primal, animal based. They belong to the physical body. Our intuition belongs to our higher self, our soul self. And sometimes we need our instincts to take a backseat, that egoic flesh suit programming, in order for us to lean further into trusting our soul selves, trusting our intuition, trusting the downloads, the visions that are coming in. So, where Mars is concerned, he usually acts on impulse, but we're not going to be doing that because we're second guessing our impulses. We're second guessing our instincts. So rather than acting upon them and probably making a mess out of things, we're actually going to be sitting back, sitting on the bench, if you will, in observation of our own damn selves. What's triggering us, what's inspiring us, what we're passionate about, what is really frustrating us, and what we actually want to pour our time, energy, and attention into. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic because, of course, there's a lot of internalized anger. So even though there are going to be triggers and activations on the greater, grander global stage for humanity to make a choice on how it is that we are going to express ourselves, because again, we're in Leo energy. This is about self-expression. I'll get there in a second. But in our own individual lives, there are going to be a lot of triggers. There's going to be a lot of activations. And it is up to us to not lean into the impulse, the immature tantrums that Mars so easily jumps into, to handle our frustrations, our hurt, our activations, our triggers from a much more evolved way. This is a very much a testing period. So, the Leo energy, let's talk about Leo energy for a second. It is the heart and soul of the zodiac. So we're in alignment with our heart space. This is let's call it inner conflict and inner battle of egoic programming. Again, instincts that belong to the flesh suit, and our heart and soul space that, of course, belongs to the higher soul self. The Leo energy is about fun. It is about creativity. It's about our true feelings, how we express those true feelings. It's about the authentic vibration and frequency of our soul self asking to be fully expressed through this physical meat suit. And so there's going to be a little bit of a conflict, first of all, between our heart and our head. Secondary, between our ego and our higher self. Third, probably projecting outwardly us and other people that we have, some very strong connections with. And then to take it even further on the macro scale, us versus quote unquote them. We live in a dualistic world. We're here to polarize things so that we can kind of blur the lines and unify back into the collective, back into the group of humanity instead of being at each other's throats. But of course, we have to learn how to do that through duality, through that polarization. And so there's going to be a line kind of dividing all kinds of different things. And here in this 3D Earth realm, the whole point is to eliminate that particular division. So this should be a very interesting retrograde for us to learn lots from. This is going to put us in a situation where we may become a little bit more of a victimhood mentality, more of that childlike, I'm not getting what I want, so I'm going to sit here and pout about it type of vibe. Leo energy does rule children, and Mars does kind of embody the adolescent energy of the zodiac wheel. So there could be a manifestation of the darker shadow parts of both of these energies, which is crying like a baby. Wah, 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 things aren't going my way. We could also see the positive manifestation of this, which is, again, acting as the observer, understanding where it is that our triggers and our activations are leading us to unpack the emotional and mental weight that we have stored in our physical body. Again, Mars rules over that flesh suit, right? The energy that drives that flesh suit. Because this new version of self just came online, this is the authentic version of our higher self trying to gain the power and control over this meat suit. And if we do it correctly, we have an alignment, mind, body, and soul, that will lead us to acting in a place of wholeness, in a place of completion. Especially moving into 2025, a year of 9. 9 is completion, ruled over by Mars. If we are operating in an alignment of mind, body, and soul, we are going to be making major, beautiful strides forward. However, a lot of us, especially on the collective stage, we're going to see that dark manifestation. And that is where the evolved part of humanity needs to step back, needs to let them do their thing, fight it out, kind of, create their own situations for themselves, karmically speaking, because the year of 9 is about endings. It's about whether or not we have the tough love life lessons available to us, integrating that wisdom and knowledge so that we can be operating from a much evolved state of being, or whether or not we're going to continue to play on this low level 3D, lower vibration and frequency, which is manifesting the dark shadow part of these energies. So we're just going to have to sit back and reassess all of the things. And again, I've been kind of nagging, saying, okay, we should be capturing what's going on. This was like a month and a half ago when we first had Mars entering this Cancer energy, capture what is going on, because we're going to be revisiting these topics and themes at the beginning of 2025. And so, the projects that we want to kind of get initiated, they may not even get off the ground until Mars actually goes direct. We may, completely drop the ball. And because of our hesitation, because of our second guessing, because of us not trusting our instincts or our intuition, we may miss the boat, so to speak. Now, at the same time, there's going to be a lot of fear, a lot of anger coming up in the collective. So if you are a light worker and if you are, feeding off of the collective's energy and bringing it into your physical form and alchemizing it to give it back to the collective so that we can raise this vibration higher and higher and higher, we are going to be working back-to-back shifts, okay? Double duty, all hands on deck, because the ugliest parts of the collective are definitely going to come out to play. Within your own self, you need to just understand where it is that you need to sit your ass on that bench and observe the game being played. That's where we're at. Now, fun fact, okay, we have a lot more going on than just Mars in this retrograde. Yes, he's joining Mercury, who's already in a retrograde, in Sagittarius energy, again, restructuring, reframing our perspective, our truth, our big ideas, our big plans. We also have some of the other heavy hitting planets in a retrograde. Specifically, I'm talking about Jupiter being retrograde in the Gemini energy. I'm not even going to mention Neptune, because Neptune is a part of this back-to-back energy shift going on here this weekend. And so there's going to be a separate astro forecast for that as well. However, with Neptune coming out of the retrograde, Mars going in it, our flesh suits, our instincts, our impulse definitely being turned down to sit on the bench. While Neptune going direct, we get to put the rose-colored glasses back on. We get a new connection with our higher self. We gain a lot more intuitive insights on the dreams, the goals, the visions that we need to be pursuing for our soul's calling, our soul's potential at this particular juncture. So it is an interesting dynamic where Mars is stepping back in order to allow some of the other placements that are higher up on the, let's call it, levels of consciousness, the level of evolvement, trusting our spiritual selves, trusting our soul selves, while those particular aspects get to step forward. So, to summarize, we're going to be low on physical energy, low on F's to give, low on passion, low on desire, low on what we should be doing, low on the ability to grow. However, the growth needs to be happening on the inner realm. We have to be analyzing our motivations. We have to be analyzing the moves that we make to assert ourselves in the path and the direction of the goals, the visions, the dreams that we actually want to be making. And we have to, when we're triggered and activated, okay, when there's frustration, when there's anger, instead of acting upon it, we need to sit our asses down and analyze it. Where does it come from? Where and who planted that seed within us? How can we dig it up? How can we reframe it so that our frustrations or anger can actually flip into a fuel source of passion, of desire, of motivation, of determination? So this is going to be a time for us to better understand ourselves, our impulses, our instincts, our anger, even our sexuality, our courage, okay? Leo energy is about being bold, brave, and courageous, about bringing our authentic selves to the forefront, about going after what it is that our heart and our soul space needs us to do, needs us to pursue. And so we have to make sure that our pride, again, Leo energy, manifestation of those dark elements, our pride does not get in the way of truly expressing ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, and the goals, the visions, the dreams that, again, we're probably going to need to sit back and rethink.